I have made a lot of enchiladas in my life, and I don't think there's ever been a batch that my family and I didn't love. But my favorite of all time is just good basic cheese enchiladas. So I'm going to show you my favorite way to make them, starting with a homemade sauce, which I think makes all the difference in this dish. So I started by sauteing some onion and red bell pepper in some olive oil, and they're really, really soft and have beautiful color. So I'm gonna add some chipotle chili powder, nice big tablespoon, and then a couple of teaspoons of cumin, and salt and pepper. This looks great. So before I add any liquid, I'm gonna sprinkle over some flour, and this helps the sauce get just a little bit of a thicker consistency and makes it not too watery. This pan is really hot. You want to stir this mixture around just so the flour isn't raw. All right, that looks great. So for the liquid, I'm adding some chicken stock and then a can of tomato sauce. And I'll stir that together, and it smells so good. So I'm gonna let this sit and bubble up and get a little bit thicker. And that is a good time for me to get the cheeses ready. Because when it comes to cheese enchilada, it really is all about the cheese. You can use any kind of cheese you want. I am using Oaxaca cheese and cheddar. So this is actually gonna be inside the tortillas, and it's gonna be on top of the enchilada casserole. So I hope I have enough. The more cheese, the better, if you ask me. Okay, that is all mixed together. So I'm gonna grab the sauce, which I know is ready by now. Look at this. It's amazing how quickly this comes together. And you can see all of these chunks of onion and bell pepper. You can leave it as it is, but I like to blend it so that it's nice and smooth. So I'm gonna use the immersion blender and go right into the pan. This is such a small amount that it's really not gonna take long at all. All right, that looks fantastic. So before I start building the enchiladas, I'm gonna pour about a cup of this sauce into the bottom of the baking dish. You don't have to be too exact with it. You just kind of wanna get a little bit of sauce coating the bottom. And building these cheese enchiladas is so simple. So I have some corn tortillas, and then I'll just grab 2 or 3 tablespoons of the cheese mixture. It's always good to grate a little more cheese than you think you need because you will use every last bit of it. And then just roll the tortilla as tightly as you can. And now I'm gonna put this seam side down in the pan over the sauce, and I'll do the same thing with the rest of the tortillas and cheese. Okay, the enchiladas are all assembled, so as you probably guessed, I'm gonna pour the rest of the sauce all over the top. I think that is great. Now I have cheese left over, and there's no way I wouldn't add this to the mix, so I'm just gonna sprinkle this all over the sauce. Again, the more cheese, the better. All right, this is ready for the oven. So it goes into a 375-degree oven for 20 minutes. And then I'll take them out, let them sit for 5 minutes, and then garnish the top. I cannot wait. It is so hard to wait and let those enchiladas sit for a few minutes, but it is always worth it. It just makes it easier to serve up. I'm gonna sprinkle beautiful cilantro leaves over the top, and an individual portion is about 6 enchiladas. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go with 2, but it's so tempting. So get a long spatula and then just right onto the plate. Should slide right off. If it's messy and cheesy, well, that is a very good sign. I love sour cream with any enchiladas, and I just put a dollop right on top. Goodness gracious. Well, I would say this is the perfect weekend meal if you're having friends over. It's also the perfect meal for a Monday night with your family. It's also the perfect meal for Tuesday night and Wednesday night, and you get the idea. A cheese celebration. I will work cheese into any type of food at any time of day, and there are lots of cheesy opportunities at snack time. Well, one of my favorite snacks is sort of a queso-like dip. It's called beer cheese. You can serve it hot, you can serve it cold, but trust me, you're gonna wanna serve this. So I am making beer cheese for two. As you can imagine, Lad is my +1 on this. I just grated some pepper jack cheese, and I have a little bit of Colby Jack cheese that I also grated. So now it's onto the skillet. I've got some butter that I have been melting, and I'm gonna add some garlic just so it can immediately start flavoring the base for this dip. And this is so good for like football games or just a casual appetizer before a meal. Okay, oh my gosh, I smell that garlic. It's amazing. So I'm gonna sprinkle in some flour, and this is just gonna be a little bit of a thickening agent for the cheese dip. Okay, this is looking good. It's starting to kind of cook. So I'm gonna add some salt and pepper just to make sure this is plenty seasoned. And then of course a little bit of spice is nice. I think crushed red pepper flakes is my favorite form of heat. It's just so easy to spice things up a little bit, but it's not overpowering. So I'll stir those in. And for the liquid, I'm gonna add some half and half, and then the beer. This is one of the star ingredients, and it doesn't take too much. I'll just add a nice healthy splash, another little healthy splash. And then before I stir everything, I'm gonna add some Worcestershire sauce, just a little bit. And one of my favorite things to add to like a cheese fondue is Dijon mustard. It is so, so good. All right, this is already starting to thicken up. I smell that beer. Oh my gosh, that is the best smell. You know what? I love it so much, I'm gonna add a little more. There's kind of a fine line. You don't want the dip to be too liquidy, but you definitely want to taste that delicious beer. So it's time to add the cheese. I just kind of add a couple of fistfuls and start to stir it in. I'm going to turn the heat way low under the pan, and then you stir it, and then when it's pretty much melted, just add another fistful. A fistful of cheese. That may be my next memoir title. I have a lot. I'm gonna have to write a lot of different memoirs to use all the funny titles that I come up with. You wanna keep stirring constantly until the cheese melts, because you don't want it to burn against the bottom of the pan. But the pan needs to be hot enough to really get it to that silky stage, and we are there. So I have a little bowl. This is probably not big enough to serve the whole amount, but I'm gonna try really hard not to drip this all over the place. But you can see this texture, how wonderful it is with the crudité that I'm gonna serve it with, but it's also great as a cold dip. It's just a little bit thicker and more of a spreadable situation then. I cannot believe how much I can smell that beer. All right, now I'm gonna put together the crudité to serve with this. This is a fun selection with mini peppers, baguette cubes, mini carrots, pretzels, and apple slices. All perfect to dip in the cheese. Beer cheese coming in. What a beautiful platter. And honestly, there's enough crudité and dip that it would serve as a meal for Lad and me. That's kind of the beauty of empty nesting. If you just want to have cheese dip and veggies for dinner, you can do it because you don't have a bunch of kids to feed. All right, honestly, I made this for Lad and me, but he better get over here fast. This stuff is gonna disappear. Ooh, here I go. Of course, I went for the pretzel. We'll save this healthy stuff for later.